Welcome to Ask Yuri. We are on episode 7. Today we're going to be answering a really good question, a really common question. It has to deal with post-exercise nutrition, what to eat, what to drink after a workout. So let me read you this question that I got from Kevin. Hey Yuri, I have set a goal to build muscle and burn fats to be in better shape for hockey. I've started making protein smoothies after my workouts. Can you touch on the significance, if any, of post-exercise protein intake? Thanks for all the great videos. Okay. All right. Very good question, very common question, important question. So I'm not too sure what the composition of his smoothie is. I'm not too sure what, what's in it, if it's a protein powder or more of a whole food-based protein. But I'm going to assume what I'm going to kind of go on what I kind of see a lot of people do. So a lot of people, a lot of people go to the gym, work out, and then they have something, maybe on the way back, maybe a chocolate milk, something like that, unfortunately. And then they go home, make a smoothie with some stuff in it, throw in some milk, throw in some yogurt, throw in some protein powder, and that's their protein shake. So not bad. Again, I'm not a huge fan of dairy, so the chocolate milk, I would never really advise that anymore. I mean, I used to way back in the day before I, saw the lights, but there are much better options. So anyways, the key with after the workout is carbohydrates, okay? Not so much protein, carbohydrates. That is your friend after the workout. Why is that so? Okay, when you're working out, what are you mainly using as your fuel? Right? Carbohydrates, right? Carbohydrates are stored in the muscle as glycogen. They're also distributed throughout the blood as blood glucose, blood sugar. That's your fuel source during intense exercise, right? So when you are finished exercising, it's like when you've driven your car 500 kilometers or 500 miles, you want to replenish your fuel, right? So you need to fill up your gas tank with gas, and in our case, carbohydrates. That's our main source of fuel. So the first thing you want to do as soon as you're done your workout, and I mean like literally when I leave the gym, I literally am always chewing on. I have a banana, I have an apple, I have some type of like homemade sports drink that I'll make. So literally by the time I'm changed, within like 5 to 10 minutes of finishing my workout, I've got some simple sugars coming into my body, and simple sugars in a good sense, right? I'm eating fruit or natural fruit juices, and I'm not a huge fan of store-bought fruit juices and store-bought smoothies, but in this case, after a workout, they're not bad because they actually give you a simple form of sugars that are actually pretty good for in comparison to a lot of other drinks out there. And that's really the only time where you want a higher glycemic index food intake is right after your workout. The cells are ready; they're ready to intake and uptake all that glucose, sugar. It's the best time to do it. So the key is right when you're finished your workout, get some simple sugars in, some fruit juice, a natural sports drink if possible, and that's the first step. Then, when you get back home and you want to make something a little bit more substantial, that's when you can start to tap into some of the protein, which is also important as well. So because you're in a post-workout state, your body is anabolic, which means that it's ready to build, and to help your muscles build, you can get a good combination of carbohydrates and protein. And because of studies show that if you can combine them, you actually get a better uptake of protein and better synthesis of protein after your workouts. Again, I'm not too crazy about the measurements, how many grams, how many teaspoons of whatever. I mean, to me, it's nonsense. I mean, I don't even I drive Amy crazy because I never measure anything. If we're doing something, I'm just throwing stuff in all over the place, and I never measure. I just eyeball it, and maybe that's just me. But I think when it comes to your protein, if you're making a smoothie, for instance, I use hemp seeds because it's a whole food, great source of omega-3s as well as easy to assimilate protein. That's what I use for my protein source. I use spirulina as well. And I also just use the inherent protein in a lot of the greens that I put in. So I'll put in a good 2 to 3 handfuls of spinach in a smoothie. After a workout, sometimes I'll throw in some almond butter or organic peanut butter. Those are all good sources of protein as well. I'm not a huge fan of protein supplements. And yes, you might be saying, if you've read my book, Eating for Energy, I do talk about whey protein and some of its benefits. I did write the book a couple years ago, so some of my opinions have changed, but nonetheless, it's not a bad thing. But again, I think you can still get all the protein you need without protein supplements. So again, my best source for protein, green vegetables, getting lots of greens in, hemp seeds, spirulina, and again, I promote eating more raw foods, but again, I do eat eggs. I do eat eggs occasionally. I do eat fish probably about 2 to 3 times a week. Tonight I've got some sea bass lined up. Yeah, so that's the key. And it's, again, think about your liver also stores amino acids, which are obviously building blocks for proteins. And more of the studies are now showing that, it's not so much what you do after the workout in terms of your protein consumption, but what's happening overall, right? If your body has enough protein and enough amino acids already in your body, in your liver, it'll have the building blocks to start to build proteins when it needs to. So in times of a slight protein deficit, your liver actually supplies the amino acids to build up after a workout. So as long as you're getting a good protein intake throughout the day, you're fine. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, a whole foods diet, not too crazy on the animal proteins. Limit your meat consumption, limit your dairy, and try to get more of your protein from plant-based sources. Much better for your health and easier for your body to assimilate. And so that's kind of my protocol for after a workout. If you can stick to more of the veggie-based stuff, it's going to really help your recovery and you're going to feel a lot better. So thanks for the question, Kevin. Hopefully that answers your question about post-exercise protein intake. And yeah, if you guys need more information on this topic, check out my book, Eating for Energy. Eatingforenergy.ca is the website. There's a whole chapter in there called Nutrition for Athletes. And I give you specific guidelines what to eat before, during, and after the workouts with tons of great recipes. And it's all plant-based. So I'm going to give you some really cool ideas, stuff you can do outside of the world of animals. Anyways, that's all for me. I'm going to stop talking now. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.